It seems part of getting older is that you will inevitably live long enough to watch your childhood heroes make fools of themselves. Rage with the Machine. 90s resistance band reunites to do establishment bidding in 2020. Legendary 1990s band Rage Against the Machine has been triggered into reuniting ahead of the 2020 election in order to #resist 4 more years of Donald Trump, perhaps the most anti-establishment outsider president in U.S. history. There's Zach De La Rocha and guitarist Tom Morello. The band will initially play 3 shows along or near the Mexican border, according to Consequence of Sound, where they'll surely explain their silence in 2011 when the Obama administration was called out by the ACLU for family separation and sticking migrant kids in cages. To be noted, Tom Morello did accuse Obama of war crimes and admitted in 2012 that he drank the Kool-Aid when Obama was elected in 2008. So you've been wrong before. And of course, the Twitter jokes came out. Jack Posobiec, so they're Rage with the Machine now. And Louis Lozano, Rage for the Machine like loyal manservants. Next spring, singer Zach De La Rocha, Tom Morello, Brad Wilk, and Tim Comferford will take the stage for the first time since 2011. The staunchly political rock band will initially play a trio of shows in cities along or near the Mexican border, including El Paso, Texas, Las Cruces, New Mexico, and Phoenix, Arizona. They'll then head to Indio, California in April to headline the 2020 installment of Coachella Consequence of Sound. As recently as May of this year, Morello seemed to downplay the possibility of a Ratum reunion. I would say rather than people waiting around for Rage Against the Machine, form your own band, he told Heavy Consequence. Let's hear what you have to say. Get out there and do it. Don't sit around twiddling your thumbs waiting for some other band to do it. Well, thanks. I actually took your advice, Tom, and started my own YouTube channel. I'm not in a band. I don't have that kind of talent, but I hope you like it. However, the impending 2020 presidential election and the possibility of Donald Trump winning a second term reportedly compelled the band into action. Needless to say, the fact that Rage Against the Machine will effectively be cheerleading for the establishment has not gone unnoticed. So, yellow, red sparks, so they'll be used as political pawns. How unique and genuine. What are they going to call themselves? Rage Against Half the Machine. Anthony Conzo says, Rage Against, yet vote for the machine? Mad Zartman. When a Dem is in office, yes sir, I'll do exactly what you tell me. A play on words. I won't do what you tell me. I can't take him seriously. And I think Jack Posobiec wins the riff on the lyrics award here with Shilling in the Name of. So in the 90s, there was this really cool kind of anti-establishment, question everything movement. You know, you had the X-Files, where these 2 sexy Democrats unmasked these dark government conspiracies. And now it's like conspiracy has become a bad word. It's gone from trust no one to don't question the narrative. And it's funny to see how a lot of this stuff hasn't aged very well. And Rage Against the Machine appears to be no exception. You know, I was thinking about it. It was pretty funny. in their heyday, in their prime, the administration in power was, for the most part, the Clinton administration. So Rage Against the Machine was staunchly against what I would say is probably the greatest political machine of all time, the Clinton media, the Clinton empire, the Clinton machine. I mean, it's widely acknowledged. She had a much better ground game. She had a much better media game than President Trump did, who was largely grassroots. And with Joe Biden flagging in the polls and Elizabeth Warren widely viewed as being unelectable due to her extreme far-left positions, Hillary Clinton is now not that Hillary Clinton, not that Dark Lord, this Dark Lord. Hillary Clinton is now floating at least the possibility of another presidential run. So they may, in this upside-down, backwards clown world we live in, end up raging for the very machine they were raging against back in the 90s. And I guess this is the kind of sad, kind of hilarious point where youthful idealism has to meet the cold, harsh realities of the real world. When you look, okay, we've got Hillary Clinton out there. Well, one of the things that Rage so sanctimoniously raged against was like the KKK. Of course, the KKK was a Democratic-founded organization. Here you can see this is Robert Byrd, a Democrat senator who died in office in 2010, who rose to the rank of exalted cyclops within the Klan, and who was once quoted as saying, "I shall never fight in the armed forces with a Negro by my side. Rather I should die 1,000 times and see Old Glory trampled in the dirt, never to rise again, than to see this beloved land of ours become degraded by race mongrels, a throwback to the blackest specimen from the wilds." Robert Byrd also was the mentor to Hillary Clinton. You have George C. Wallace, a Democrat, doing his little stand in the schoolhouse door, preventing desegregation, and he was in office until 1987. In fact, let's face it, if Hillary Clinton had gotten elected, we all know there would be a war in Syria. We would not be drawing down troops, and we would not be pulling back as unsatisfyingly slowly as we're doing it now. The Green Party didn't call her the goddess of war for nothing. And on the immigration front, it seems they're rocking out for open borders. Well, who's in favor? Who benefits most from open borders? Well, it's big corporations. I mean, they can hire this labor from south of the border. It's not documented. It's all off the books. So you don't have to comply with any wage laws. You can pay them as little as you want, which also undercuts the wages of the average working class American by depressing all the lower rungs of employment. You don't have to comply with any labor laws. You don't have to comply with any safety laws. You don't have to comply with OSHA, or maybe you get a guy hurt on the job. You don't have to deal with health insurance or offer any sorts of benefits. You know, they don't get regular breaks. You don't have to give them a lunch. I mean, this is a way to really boost corporate profits. Undocumented laborers are the new modern-day slaves. And far from benefiting the little guy, it appears that Rage Against the Machine is now working for the 1%. Bigger government, higher taxes, more bureaucracy, lower wages, less jobs, less security, more war. You know, if there was one thing I thought liberals would oppose, it's war. And yet they're so, as Tom Morello said, he drank the Kool-Aid once. Man, I think you drank the Kool-Aid more than once. This derangement syndrome we have going on, you've actually turned all of your personal ideas that you claim to stand for up on their head. And some people argue this is just for money. I don't see it as money. I think there really are idealistic guys. But the problem is you have to be realistic as well. Rage Against the Machine is kind of what happens when, as the saying goes, the road to hell is paved in good intentions. It's what happens when you base your politics on emotion rather than logic and facts and careful reasoning. It's what happens if you just translate anger into the political sphere. It's never going to create anything good, and it just leads to this absurd, upside-down scenario where they are raging for what at one time they raged against. But it looks to me just like more stolen valor by a group of middle-aged multimillionaires LARPing as heroes as they reenact civil rights victories from generations ago.